Thank you for being a part of this program. I pray right now that it will penetrate somebody or some people and cause you to understand that there's something very, very major going down. This is the first of the year of 2015. The prophets are speaking. They have spoken now for a long time that this will be a very special and unusual year. The people who are not godly people, the worldly people, are also picking it up. And the financial world is saying that things are going to change this year. And someone has put out on the, Art Larson, I believe, from the Weiss Group, has put out a statement for several weeks now that January the 28th, America will never be the same again. I don't know that that's true. Chuck Pierce said last year that September 2015, that the world would change. Our nation would never ever be the same. I have no idea that prophecy and exactly what it means. But I'm just telling you that there are those who are saying it. Not just the preachers, not just the prophets of God, but the people of the world are saying it also. So what I want to share with you today, and I hope I can be thorough enough and yet not boring. I will try my best to be as straight on as I can. But let me read you a scripture and then we'll get started. Habakkuk, and I'm reading from the Message, Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, verses 2 and 3. And then God answered, write this. Write what you see. Write it out in big block letters so that it can be read on the run. This vision message is a witness pointing to what is coming. It aches for the coming. It can hardly wait, and it doesn't lie. If it seems slow in coming, wait. It's on its way. It will come right on time. Let me read those last two lines again. Three. It aches for the coming, and it can hardly wait. And it doesn't lie. It seems slow in coming, but wait. It's on its way. It will come right on time. So we are looking at this as if it were being written right now, spoken from the Word of God. Let me tell you who I am. You've just seen me a few times, maybe on the video. My name is C.L. Johnston. This is my precious wife, Verna, whom we live together, speak together, love together, and we are of one mind and one direction. And so this makes everything so nice. God bless this beautiful lady. Now, I am God's man, minister, full-time pastor for 54 years. I am not an upstart. God has promised me to take me to 120 years. He spoke to me one day many years ago as I was jogging, and I heard a voice, and he said, I'm calling you to be the voice of a prophet. And then at a later time, he stopped me when I was praying. He said, I want to talk to you. He says, I am commissioning you to be an apostle of encouragement to my people because of what is coming on the earth. So I am an apostle of Jesus Christ. And then he spoke to me again at another date, and he said, you are to address yourself as one of my generals. I'm only telling you these things, which I say very little about, because I want you to know from where this word that I'm going to give you is coming from today. It's coming from a seasoned father in the Lord, a father of ministers. And I have a word from God that I want to share with you of the days that we're approaching right now. Now, I want to speak about the visions that I have, that God has given me, that puts Verna and I right in the middle of Detroit, right dead center of this great city, not downtown, not in Newtown, not in New Center, but out here in Boston Edison, in the middle of the city. Years ago, some 34 years ago, Dr. Lester Summerall, a great, great prophet who's been gone for many years, came to me 3 times And the last time I found out why he was coming. He said, every time I fly into Detroit, I see a cloud of greed, failure, and depression. One day, Brother Johnston, you're going to have to stop and pay a price and bring it down. I knew we had an assignment. I told Verna years ago, I said, we will move to Detroit one day. I don't know when, but we will move to Detroit. And then from that moment forward, I began to have dreams and began to see things. And I have some things written out here that I want to try to give you in some kind of order. It may not be the order that they came in, but I want you to hear them. I dreamed while I was down in Ohio once. Verna and I were there on a little quiet time in our motorhome at a park. And all night long, I said dream, but all night long God kept me up and kept me awake. The only night of my life that I did not sleep even a wink. On this particular night, he showed me things that have disturbed me and has never left my mind. And this is it. He showed me a vessel over in the Canadian waters of the Detroit River. As it released a bomb that came across the water, it was so clear, I was taken to that point and I could watch it. It was just skimming under the water as it came across and came up on the shore, and it was electronically a device that exploded it. It was full of nasty gases and poisons. A wind came up from Detroit.
That happened right about Hart Plaza.
Yeah, right at Hart Plaza. A wind came up from Detroit, out of Detroit, and it blew the poisonous gases out over the Detroit River and then moved on down toward Lake Erie where it dissipated. There were people along the shore who were gravely injured, many of them I'm sure fatal. Then he said, watch this, I'll show you something else. Another bomb was released. It was at a later date. I have no idea how that goes. God does it in His time. Another bomb was released at a later date, and it came across the water up on Hart Plaza and again exploded. All of the terror that was in it began to be released. Another wind came up, but this time it came from Canada, and it blew the terrible poisons out over Detroit. And great, massive numbers of people died. God spoke. He says, now, this one does not have to happen. If my pastors will come together in unity, it does not have to happen, and it will be canceled. So this is one of the drives of my heart. This is one of the goals that God has given me and Verna and several others and a beautiful team He is blessing us with here. This goal is to reach the pastors. Bob Jones, before he died, the great prophet, called Verna and I into his home on a private meeting. We had no idea how it was happening and why.
No, because we didn't even know him and they didn't know us.
No, but we were on vacation in North Carolina out on the beach when we got our call. They said, Bob Jones wants to see you. And he did not know where we were from or what we were doing. But we went into his home. He was there with his feet all bound up, ready to be taken off. It was just ready to die. And with this horrible disease of diabetes. And he spoke over us for about an hour and a half. And some of the things he said were so phenomenal. But he spoke about Detroit. And he says, they are the most controlling pastors on the planet that I've ever met. You have to go back and break that controlling spirit. Well, I knew things were beginning to come together. I said many other things that I won't take time to tell you here. But many wonderful and awesome things were said to us that day. But then we continue to tell you about the dreams. I had another dream. I was in a bus, and we were coming from the up north, and there were about 6 or 7 men on the bus with us. They were part of the team. They are the team. They were powerful warriors. On the bus was Jesus Christ Himself. I did not see Him, but I knew He was on the bus. And I knew our goal, our mission, was to take Him to the middle of Detroit, or down to the powerhouse of Detroit, where we would then crown Him and give Him the honor of owning this city. Well, we did that, and it was quite an experience. And then God said some very strange things to me. He says, the battle for the soul of Detroit is now on. Gather my warriors. Okay, it bothered me that we were to put a crown on Jesus' head. I just assumed he had one. And then I read over in Revelation where he came on the white horse, and as he was coming to the earth, the crown was then placed on his head. So you can handle that however you like.
There was a second bus that came and blocked us as we were going to Detroit, traveling to Detroit. That was also had a lot of warriors on it with guns, machine guns.
And Beelzebub was on. I forgot to tell you the whole dream.
Yeah, Beelzebub was on that bus.
Okay, so the bus pulled up in front of us.
We had to stop.
Had no choice. Okay, I told our people on the bus, I said, we got to get off. We run over and stood behind a embankment that was real close to us, so we could see. The warriors with Beelzebub himself got off of that bus, and they ran behind a clump of trees thinking they could see us. A young man in our group, I have no idea who he was, how young he was. He was a young man. We were at a standstill. We couldn't see them, they couldn't see us. He said, I have a decoy, I'll put it out in the open, and then that will draw them out. I said, oh no, you're not. They'll wipe you out if you go out where they can see you. He said, no, they won't bother me. I have no idea why. He went out there and he placed his decoy, I don't know what it was, and came running back. It did pull out the warriors for Beelzebub. And with their high-powered equipment, they began to just annihilate this thing, whatever it was. Our guys had powerful equipment, and they took every one of them down. One left, and I'm glad you remembered this. I didn't have it down. We went over to where Beelzebub was, and he had an aide with him, but they had no guns or no equipment. He had a crown on his head. We took the crown off. Mm-hmm. Then we took Jesus down on into Detroit, and there we placed him on his throne and put the crown on his head. So that is a major goal, to give this city to Jesus Christ and to the Father, to give them preeminence and rule. You know, God will do whatever He's got to do to get His way.
Yes.
He will do it, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. He's a good God, a great God, but He will not allow this to go on the way it is now. All of the greed and all of the terror that goes on in this city will now stop. He gave me a vision a few years ago. This was about 6 years ago. In early morning prayer, he said Detroit will become a place of refuge for Christians, believers from all over the nation. And he said, and he allowed me to see a vision of mothers pushing their little babies down streets after dark on a warm evening, midnight even, where brave men will not even walk today. That's how clean and beautiful the back of Detroit. You know, we got downtown beautiful, but you get out here in the suburbs, not the suburbs, but out here in the neighborhoods. And you see nothing but burnt-out houses and
boarded up houses.
It's just terrible.
There's some nice ones scattered.
Okay, so let's continue here while I give you the dreams and the visions that God has shared with me. All right, we had another dream. We were traveling, let's see, let me pick up on this one. Here at the house, we had about 30 people here when we were preparing to send them out. This followed the dream that we had down in Detroit.
In the buses.
In the buses.
In the buses. It was the next morning.
The next night I had this dream.
Yeah.
Okay, in this particular dream, we were here about 30 people in our house. And we were preparing people to go out on the streets to do prayer stations or street cleaning or whatever they did. And we were preparing them and getting them ready and organized and sending them out. Someone knocked at the door. It was two ladies. These ladies were interested in seeing me. I told whoever it was that went to the door, I said, just tell them to have a seat, that I'll be with them when I can. So they came in, sat down. When I got all through, I go over to them. I said, ladies, what can I do for you? I thought they wanted an assignment. They said, we want you to marry us. I said, you two together? Yeah. You lesbians? Yeah. I said, you know better than that. You knew I wouldn't do that when you came here. I don't do this sort of thing. No, absolutely not. They got up and they went out in a huff. The next morning, we heard sounds out front. I looked out and the street was crawling with gays, lesbians. It was very, very, very sad. And they had play cards, and they were threatening Verna and I, and they were threatening to burn our house and to start marking it up. I said, okay, God, I'm going to use all the authority you've given me. I'm going out there, and I believe those people are good people, but they are possessed. And I have the authority to order those demons that are operating in them out of here. So I did. I stood out there, and with the greatest authority I had, and with the very deepest voice I could come up with, I ordered the demonic spirit of lesbianism, of homosexuality, and evil, whatever is in them, I ordered it out. And it had to leave now. And suddenly, they started to move. God stood beside me. He says, I made this happen because you said it, and your word was spoken correctly. However, you haven't even started to gather my warriors yet. Oh my. So the warriors, we're calling for you to come home. Those who really want to know God and want to be a warrior in the camp. Come on. Thank you for watching.